This is 5 Minutes of Political Common Sense for America. I'm Brian Boeheim, the political engineer. And in this segment, I want to talk about Donald Trump versus Barack Obama. What is wrong with Donald Trump? With so many valid issues to bring in front of the American people to display the ineptitude of our current president, what makes him think that rehashing the birther issue will provide him any real traction? Donald, you're climbing out on a thin branch, and if people thought you were a lunatic before, they're sure of it now. With that said, I'd like to play a little what-if game. For a few moments, just imagine if Donald Trump hired me to be his political strategist. My first action would be to develop a 4-point attack on the credibility of the president. No make-believe hypothetical talking points, but instead a real examination of the shortcomings of the president. The 4 areas that I would attack are his indecisiveness in the face of disaster, his poor judgment in filling his cabinet, his special treatment of friends and special interest groups, and finally, and possibly most importantly, the overall questionability of his credibility and his honesty. Let's start with his indecisiveness. In the past 2+ years, the president has consistently refused to take action on the big decisions. Let's take a look. When our troops in Afghanistan were outnumbered and in trouble, the president took months to make a decision to either pull them out or add troops. There's a reason military leaders need to be decisive. It's because it costs lives. If you don't like that one, how about the molasses-like action and reaction on the BP oil spill? Oh, and let's not forget the total inaction on the Nashville floods. Possibly the worst of his delayed decisions is his inability to bring the 9/11 terrorists to justice. Now, what about his poor judgment? Honestly, where do I start? How about the head of the DOJ? Eric Holder has failed to bring the 9/11 terrorists to justice. He has ignored the Constitution on 3 separate occasions by allowing voter intimidation to go unprosecuted, by challenging states' rights to defend itself against foreign intruders, and refusing to defend a law under special interest attack. How about Janet Napolitano? She has single-handedly made a joke of the Homeland Security Division. She thought the almost near tragedy of the Christmas Day bomber was a great execution of security. And her inability to provide southern border security for this country is an embarrassment. But the one that no one really pays attention to is Energy Secretary Stephen Chu, who has done everything in his power to slow down the expansion of the United States-fueled alternative energy production, all the while making us more dependent on energy technology from foreign governments. He has consistently stripped and berated our own ability to create energy and given those rights and given that business to foreign entities. Did you know we have to get most of our nuclear fuel from overseas? Does that make any sense at all? Let's move on. Nepotism. How many government contracts can one president slide in the direction of an extended social family? It is well documented that the SEIU and other unions have received more face time with the president than any other organization. He forcefully loaded the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board, and handed over a huge portion of General Motors to the unions as a gift. Let's not forget that they have received special waivers, the unions that is, to ignore Obamacare regulations. Also, ACORN, which has been renamed and rebuilt, is back receiving taxpayer dollars. And finally, companies like GE have been receiving special treatment on so many levels, yet they keep moving jobs overseas and paying little or no taxes. Finally, and possibly most importantly, an issue of honesty and integrity. While some, like Donald Trump, want to ask the birther question, I prefer to question his honesty and integrity. See, for me, the question is not whether he was born here. I think that's a diversion. My greater interest is in his honesty, first with his applications to Occidental College in Columbia, but later with his application to Harvard and his application to take the bar. Did he apply to Occidental College as a foreign student? What was his citizenship status on his application to Columbia? More importantly, was he accurate and honest on his law school and bar applications? Both of these have very extensive requirements about disclosure. This leads us to the very odd surrendering of his law license. I'm not concerned about conspiracies. I'm concerned about integrity. These are all ethical questions that have gone unanswered and, in my opinion, bring the president's integrity into question. And as long as he has a question mark next to his integrity, I have to question what he's doing in the White House. You've been listening to 5 Minutes of Political Common Sense. I'm Brian Boeheim, political engineer. If you like what you've heard here, pick up a copy of my book, Political Common Sense for America. You can find it at Amazon.com. Until next time, be safe out there.